Hey guys, EST here, and you said you wanted movie reviews, and boy, what good timing. Somewhat recently, we had a movie jump onto Netflix out of nowhere called Leave the World Behind. The title is kind of crap and has nothing to do with the movie. They could have rethought that one, but is this the best prepper movie ever made? People are saying yes, and I'm going to give it a rating between 0 and 10, where 0 is Moonfall and 10 is The Road. Guess what I'm probably going to make another review on. So I hopped on this one as soon as I heard it was a prepper movie and kind of good, and I did it without giving Netflix money. You can fill in the gaps there. Maybe I watched it at a friend's house. Maybe I did something more creative. I am not giving Netflix a penny. Those people are horrible. Anyway, the beginning is the most tonally confused, overly dramatic, artsy camera angles, just film student who doesn't know what they're doing, immature, over-the-top cinematography, just horrible, but then that goes away and it's like a completely different person started being the director of everything from the movie to the camera work. So as long as you can put up with 10, 20 minutes of ridiculousness, dumb movie cliches, over-the-top angles and movements, just, trying to... I don't know what they're trying to do. Just play Hollywood. I don't know. And since it's Netflix, I gotta say how much woke crap is in it. It's subtle and kind of in the background. Except for one thing about whining about racism and whatever. But it's more one character and it isn't clear whose side the movie is on. It's more like they're presenting a case study on this brainwashed paranoid lefty who thinks everybody's against them. So not too bad. Definitely bearable. So what actually happens in the movie? Well, really, really early on, spoiler, they learn that it's a cyber attack of some sort. They don't know who, but it's definitely cyber-based. Because technology, power, communications, that goes first. Now, the first really tense scene when stuff starts kicking off, how they reveal what's going on, when they're walking around a house and just ooh, I don't know. Pretty brilliant, I gotta say. That's good. That's actually impressive, and I've seen a lot of movies. So as the movie starts to build up, actually, there's an old prepper dude that they see loading up a ton of gear that a prepper would, I guess, buy at the last second. But if you're a prepper, you already have it. But, just a smart guy who pays attention is let's go, let's double up. This is the last thing, reading the writing on the walls. And they see it, and what the movie's going for. The character's kind of confused, but I think they kind of get it. And they're kind of putting the pieces together. I thought that was pretty good. What he was loading up on, what the heck store sells all those together in the same place in a small town, but okay. It's another thing that's just a little too convenient, but because plot and because movies, so okay. And a lot of it's really real. I mean, this is pretty well done. I can tell they consulted actual preppers and tactical people who would have said, well, this and this and this would happen, and they kind of built a movie around that instead of having a movie and trying to crowbar in some illogical thing that kind of fits, but that you could, drive a truck through the plot holes and the, science of it. And I mean, that makes it really good. I'll tell you right now before even the wrap up, go watch it. Don't give Netflix a penny, but somehow find a way to watch it. Now, there are some scenes that are beyond ridiculous. I can't believe that a competent writer, director, and everybody else would be yeah, that makes sense. Let's leave that in the movie. It's another one of those things that snuck in because but that'll be really dramatic and spooky, so let's do it. Even though it makes no sense. 0 sense. And it's with the small airplane. That's all I'm going to say. Where did it come from? Why is it there? Everything else, how he evades it, everything about that scene is a train wreck. They should have cut it, but the end result is pretty integral, so didn't like it. Now, the characters are annoying, but they're annoying, dumb, unprepared city folk. So as long as you can watch a prepper movie that's the opposite of The Road, but it's, 5 minutes after, or 1 second after an event, not, 10 years or whatever, 10, 20 years probably with The Road. We're the only people left are not the dumb, talentless, clueless, useless city folks. Making this completely the opposite, and it's a hard comparison, but okay, let's just take that for what it is. You're not going to like the characters, and, I will say, though, that some of their decisions, what they do, how they act, that is what real people would do. Probably not the type of people who would watch this channel, but real people, so it's interesting to watch. Because you know how you'll react, now let's see how other people are going to do it. So, one person went off alone, they saw some things that were interesting, probably worth reporting to the rest, and they basically just covered it up. They didn't talk about it. They didn't compare notes when they got back. They're just oh, I don't know. I don't know if they were in denial, they didn't believe what they saw, they didn't want to panic people and alarm them any further, a mix of everything, but people do that. And then the same thing happens with another character. They go off, they see some things that would have been worth reporting, but they decide not to. And they all know each other, they're a family somewhat. I mean, there are strangers and they show up and they're like, should we trust them, that kind of stuff. Just to build tension, but that's real too. But just everyone all together, they're supposed to be like somewhat wealthy New York people. So, for weak-minded, unprepared people like Hollywood actors and Hollywood rich people trying to write actors' parts that are similar to what they know, I think they nailed it. Yeah, that is how those people would be. And in fact, the best line of the movie just about is where they reference like how they saw something on TV about being a prepper, and then they suggest, should we fill up the bathtub with water? And like a couple other things that they just kind of heard, and that's like the realest thing. People kind of scrambling with like, what do I know? I mean, they stopped just short with the whole movie totally from just turning right to you and addressing the camera in a fourth wall break saying, hey, you should be a prepper. Do you get it yet? Instead of like some dumb Discovery show making preppers look like paranoid idiots. So shout out for that, just saying. And okay, so the tech parts of it, a lot of people took issue with this because, it was a cyber attack, like I said. As an IT pro, it could happen like this. That's all I'm going to say. In that order with all that stuff, that is very realistic of a scenario. Now, one of the specific methods and weapons used is ridiculous. You wouldn't be able to generate that much power that widespread. I don't know. They just thought it would be creepy and just do it. Who cares? Because science, whatever. So they utterly dropped the ball on that. It was completely ridiculous. But the order of things going on, that's spot on. And the thing with the cars, that legitimately provably could happen. I think people are like, oh, that's so over the top. That's ridiculous. What is this, a sci-fi movie? People have proven that you can do that. You can hack a car in that way, okay? Without giving it away, certain models, especially Chinese models, they're built to do that, let alone the ones they showed. So, I mean, I can't stand movies where they don't consult like an IT expert. I mean, call me up, $50, I'll consult on a movie. I'll read your script and be like, no, you gotta change that, tweak this, make it more real, okay, done. Like, they have the budget, it's just do they care? Are they aware of how stupid they are being, or did they hire some wannabe poser who's like, oh, I'm an IT expert, just like the weapons expert from that one Western movie that went really well with Alec Baldwin? Yeah, I know weapons. I might want to go shoot some cans on set for fun with live ammo. So the fact that this is a lot more realistic, like almost end to end, I can appreciate that. The social parts, back to that, like who they trust and, can I trust this person? Maybe the acting's like 5% over the top, for drama, but I don't know. I just hope you can tolerate people who are very not preppers. I mean, I can't really outline that enough. This is a big Hollywood actor movie, and they still directly mention that people were moving money around before the event went off. Now, people would do that. People talking about that with each other and comparing notes later on. That would absolutely happen. There have been real-world examples of people talking about making actions before a large-scale event in the real world, like Bill and Melinda Gates' quote-unquote divorce that required them to sell some stocks and liquidate them to split it. Well, isn't that convenient? Right before massive inflation, I wonder if someone tipped them off. I wonder if they knew the government was about to raise interest rates and, print money like crazy. Or anything involving Congress people and stocks. Don't even get me started, but... an attack of this scale, an event of this scale is not some lone wolf thing. It's not some little 3-person thing. It's not, aliens. It's not a giant weather event. It's not a gamma ray burst. This would take hundreds, if not thousands of people to all prepare and coordinate at once and hit it. And if that many people are involved, remember, the more people involved, the more likely it is, or the more difficult it is to keep them quiet, or however you want to phrase that. You know the phrase. I believe the original phrase is 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. So if you need 1,000 people to pull off a thing, somebody's leaking that it happened ahead of time, okay? It makes me very skeptical that they didn't see it coming with the Israel attack, because a lot of people coordinated that. I think they wanted a reason to strike back. Just saying. But one of the characters is a money manager, and he has said, I saw some patterns that I've never seen anything like that in my career. People moving stuff around, liquidating stuff that didn't make sense to the point where I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I just thought, you know what? I'm not a paranoid prepper, like it's, popping off, let's go to my bunker. Like he didn't say that, but that's basically implied. I just thought, like, let's take my family out to the country because they had a rental out there, like a second property where they could stay there, but then the rest of the time they rented it. And that's why two groups that didn't know each other ended up in the same place and they didn't know if they could trust each other, and drama. And I think that's like almost the most realistic part of the movie. Like everything about this is so well planned. I'm telling you, if you can get past the over the top stuff and a couple little quirky logic things, like it's pretty darn on point. And the breakdown of the people when they're just sitting there with nothing to do but their thoughts. It's not adrenaline. It's not switched off. Let's just go. Let's run. Fight or flight. I'll worry about it later. The whole adrenaline switches on, brain switches off, natural human reaction. When they're just like, well, no communication, no electricity, no nothing, no cell phone, no, let's just sit here and wonder what's going on, or if somebody's got to bust down the door and shoot us, or if there's an invasion, or if it's aliens or zombies, we don't know. We're just going to sit here with our thoughts. They start to lose it. They do not handle the stress very well. These are go out and go to the orchestra with some wine, New York people. These are not mentally tough, hardened, I've been through some crap people. I mean, money manager who lives in New York City, like, come on. And there's this huge scene where it's, do I help this person or do I drive off? And then there's a huge language barrier in it that really makes it an even tougher, scenario, because now they're even more distant, even more of a mystery and a wild card to an already stressful situation. But, your brain goes, let's help this person, which is weird because they're all from New York. But they do seem like generally nice, somewhat moral people. They're just like all having a breakdown and stressed out. And like that psychological part of it through the whole movie is pretty darn accurate. I think the way the kids kind of either shut down or like hide it, or just the way they handle it, they come off as really annoying characters. But like, you don't know how kids are going to handle this, especially at those ages, Like 8-year-olds will just do what they're told. They're just like in mommy protect me mode. That is how their brain is wired until they're a teenager. Teenagers, especially early teens, they don't know what the heck they're doing. They don't know if they want to like hormone up and get aggressive and let's fight, or they don't know if they want to go back to just hiding, or they just shut down, or they're just like stressing. And then there's the, obviously the boy versus girl reaction, completely different. And I think it was accurate. I mean, it was annoying, but it was accurate. You don't have to like the characters, and like you will hate the characters in this movie almost across the board. And I don't mean in like a fun Seinfeld, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia way. I mean, you will not enjoy these characters, but seeing as like a case study how they handle what's going on, and that you're not rooting for them. There are no heroes or anti-heroes. It's just a thing that's happening, like some kind of like almost documentary, but fake. If you could just watch it for that, then it's huge. It is so well done. So no, there's a couple things you can really gain from this too, and reinforce other things you've probably already heard on my channel or others, or just general prepper knowledge, like, hey, be a hard target, don't have the lights on, don't attract attention. It's just stuff where you'd be thinking, if I was in this scenario, what would I do differently? And you come up with like, well, they should have boarded up the windows, they should do this, they should do that, they should, all this other stuff. They should gather intel, they should have left like earlier to look around, and shouldn't have like at certain points split up. But they got the like, not even the normalcy bias, but the like, I want something familiar to make myself feel good, or I'm about to lose it kind of stuff. So they just like go swimming. But not all of them wanted to go swimming together, so then they're kind of split up. And I feel like that's kind of because movie, but, you lock 4, 5, 6 people, however many it was, that are really stressed out all in one enclosed area, and then force them to stay near each other, it's probably going to get worse. It's the smarter thing to do, but if you're already not mentally prepared for this, it's only going to get worse. But several people at several points are going like house to house, stores, that kind of stuff, looting. I believe it's actually been a while since I watched this movie. But what kept occurring to me is if you just leave a sign on the door, handwritten, cardboard, charcoal, whatever, and it says, hey, we're inside, we're prepared, we're armed, try the next house if you value your safety. And you might think, well, that's not going to work. That's just going to announce to people. Look, having the anything cooking, fire, burning garbage, which I generally don't recommend, but I also don't like rats and insects, just saying. Burying it, I think, is usually what people recommend. But anyway, if you're even cooking, if you got just a flashlight, if somebody's got a cell phone light on for a little bit in a room at night, they're gonna know, okay? They're gonna know you're there. And it's almost worse if they're just going house to house. They're not looking to attack people. They're not looking to steal. They're just looking to scavenge for supplies. And now you run into them and they run into you and everybody's shooting or screaming. And it's probably better At this point, now 6 months in, I would have a completely different story about how to be stealthy. But like a couple days in, it's just regular people. It's just a lot of people trying to survive and not starve. People who are unprepared, people who are caught in a car, they got nothing. And they're just like, let's see if this house has something. These are all vacation houses. Most of them are retirees. They're out in the house, or they're out in the country. You can probably get in and take their supplies and not feel too bad about it, but it's like life and death. But it's not like, if I don't get in there, I'm going to shoot him. You legitimately, at this point, a couple days later, could just get in and like raid somebody's dry goods, or like even their fridge maybe. I don't know, 5 days later, the fridge with no power. Maybe not. But the pantry. I mean, you get some noodles or something, get some canned goods, and just be on your way. You know, grab some batteries, flashlights, guns, whatever. And so a little sign on the door, okay, if that's me, like I got stranded, EMP and my car's down, and I'm in an area with not a high density, I'm purposely going to look for unoccupied houses before somebody else gets to them, and I'm just going to break a window. If somebody has a sign up on the door that says it's occupied, I might knock on it, politely wave from a distance with my hands up and try and trade with them or something if I really need something. Or if I want to like join them, have a place to stay, or, get more intel, talk with them intel. It would be a risk. Every conflict is a risk. They could just outright shoot me. You got to be careful for that. I'd probably be behind cover with a tree with a concealed weapon. But generally, I'm just going to be like, nope, don't need that drama. There's 100 houses on this block, and those 3 look occupied. Well, then, we're hitting 97 houses, Now, 6 months later, where everybody's dying desperate, there's not enough to go around, and the only way you're getting resources is stealing from someone else? Yeah, we ain't announcing our presence. They'll come back with 50 people. And they don't do that in this movie, but my gosh, would some things have gone better if they did. And in fact, at the end, they have to go to the prepper guy that they saw earlier. They have to go to his place and ask him for like medical assistance. And he's like, you got nothing to trade. You should have read the headlines, piss off, basically, typical prepper stuff. Not like, ooh, angry, grumpy, I'm angry at the world, I was right, rar. Just like smart, like, why would I drag myself down because I don't know you kind of stuff. He does eventually help them. I don't actually remember why. I think they just like ask really nicely a lot of times and tell them that it's life and death. And he does eventually help them. And I think they give him some information. It kind of turns out a little warmer than his initial cold reaction. But I think he had the right mindset where he knew ahead of time, was he going to help people or was he not? And a lot of the preppers, really conservative, obviously, usually Christian preppers, they have admitted on multiple channels on YouTube when asked this, like, what are you going to do about helping other people? Almost everyone said, we set aside 10 to 25% to help other people, and that's that. We stacked what we got, and that we just decided as a family, as a couple, as whatever, or even just as myself, that is what I'm going to do. And me personally, yes, that as well. I've got double to triple what I need. So, I mean, if they got something, I can't imagine what it would be for equipment, but like information, transportation, out of some random tool, or I don't know, firewood or something, that's kind of hard to get where I am. Like good dried firewood, that would go really quickly. You can't just chop down a tree, it's green, I don't exactly live in a forest, so if they just like had a bundle of firewood, I'd be like, all right, have a kilo of rice, all right. No point in having rice if I can't boil water and cook it. But I've got one full regiment of every antibiotic. We ain't giving that out. I'm sure I say that. If it was somebody I knew, a friend or family member, that's a different story, obviously. Because, I don't want to be responsible for that. I'd rather die. But if somebody showed up with like a sick kid and I'm like, that very clearly is an infection, I could just give them these and I'd probably do it. I'm a softie like that. I'm like hardcore prepper, like no absolute, we're doing the plan. Switch it off and survive right up until like, it's a kid or like I'd say a dog, but like, no. I think if it was a scenario, guess what? The dog's dying. Humans are more important, sorry. But like a family or something, like I'd probably help them out, like significantly. But I mean, I got 50 lighters. I've got like hundreds of kilograms of dry goods. I've got redundant everything. I may or may not give them a water filter, but I've only got like 4 of those. I mean, those things are expensive. I might give them some knowledge. I might give them one of my duplicated little micro SD cards and an old phone, because I got like 6 of those laying around. I've got 2 like ancient Garmin GPSs that are all rigged up with local maps that'll run with no data connection. They got it at the pawn shop or the Goodwill for like $3. I'll give them one of those. I've got like 8 solar to USBs. I'll give them one of those. What do I need 8 of them for? I just got them for the channel, wrote them off as an expense so that I could put them in a review video. And now I expect, I wouldn't say I got them for free. I got them as an offset for taxes. That's That you either know how it works or you don't. But that big thing at the end of the movie with, is he going to help them? Is he not? Is that going to be the message? It's so tense you could cut the tension with a knife. And that's where you really start thinking, what would I do? And you need to think about that ahead of time. Think about it now so that you don't have to think about it at gunpoint, you know? Or with someone at gunpoint. So worth seeing absolutely 100%. As a movie, child actors are bad and annoying. They're kind of untalented and just I find them abrasive despite maybe their reactions being annoying. I just can't stand them. The tooth scene is ridiculous. They just go full horror movie. It makes no sense. It's for shock value. There's no logical reason. And I thought it was so unrealistic. I thought they would wake up and it would be a dream. But no, he really did that for no reason with perfectly working mind. I got no words for that. That is the stupidest thing in the whole damn movie. Right up there with the airplane. The CGI is kind of crap, especially the animals. Some logical issues, minor. The subtle woke garbage they had to inject in it. Characters are unlikable. Convenient, very convenient timing to build drama. A lot of it's to keep the movie going. A lot of it is just logic because movie. Like when nobody's watching, when just the camera's there, the TV turns on and tells you, the viewer, something you need to see. Just to move the thing along, let you know it's happening in a kind of clever way, but it's not that clever because it's just like the director wink wink showing you something. Like it really brings you out of the movie. So from a movie standpoint, I'd give it a 6 or a 7, which is pretty good because apparently it has a 6.5 on IMDb. So I'd say, yeah, it's about right as a movie because I've seen some darn masterpieces as a movie. It's good by last 5 years standards because all the movies lately have been garbage. But yeah, 6.5. I'd give it that. As a prepper movie, I'd give it a 9. I actually would. There's a lot wrong with it, but there's so much right with it that it's like, I think it's kind of like me looking back at like, I'm shocked at how good this was. And I'm kind of riding that high. I think if I rewatched this 5 years later, I'd probably give it an 8. But for now, it's a 9 just because there's nothing else like it. Do I think in a vacuum it deserves a 9 out of 10 as a prepper movie? Absolutely not. They need to fix like 10 things in it. But it's so close and it's such an interesting, unique character study. And just the events and what happens after another. Like, oh yeah, that could happen. Oh yeah, that would happen. It's real decent. So I say for the ending, it's a bad ending. Everybody agrees. I bet that took a full point off generally. People hate the ending. I hate the ending. When I heard people's interpretations of the ending, it's not up to interpretation. It's just the interpretation of why they ended the movie on that. It's either social commentary or, wow, she's been through a lot, so escapism. The social commentary, that's just stupid. It's kind of self-referential because you're already watching Netflix and like that. I don't like that. A little too preachy, and I think that's a little too smart. I think you're giving them a little bit too much credit. If it's the latter. If it's, they know they gotta survive, they know things are getting worse, they know it's awful, but they just want a little rest, a little escapism. So like, it makes no sense what they're doing, but it does. And also it ends on what one of the children is doing. Children, when they're in ongoing stressful environments, like I said before, you don't really know what they're going to do. And they didn't seem like the most well-adjusted person to begin with. I think they had some issues going in. And I'd say it's a realistic ending. Then why am I calling it a bad ending? Well, because it's a bad, stupid, lazy ending. But if they would have just put that 95% of the way through the movie and then thought of an actual ending, it would have been so much better. But it's almost kind of artistic that it ends abruptly and then just you get no closure, you get no big, oh, we're on a boat, we're on a helicopter, let's fly away, woo, we did it. You know, obviously they're not out of the woods yet, but like a big sigh of relief, you know, ooh, the heroes made it. But it's not really that kind of movie. Now they do resolve a lot of stuff. They do solve a lot of problems at the end of the movie. And you could probably sit there and predict what would happen, you know, an hour after the movie ended. But maybe that should have been how it ended. Did they just run out of money? They just think, oh, this will be kind of artistic. Let's just stop filming here. It's not End of Sopranos bad, but it's bad. It's very abrupt and stupid. So that's about it. I mean, if you saw it, let me know what you think down below. I will fully warn everybody. Massive spoilers in the comment section because we're going to go full discussion on everything. So if you want to post something that has to do with like the ending or big details or big reveals, let's talk about it down in the comment section. So don't scroll down there if you haven't seen it or if you, I don't know, don't care somehow. But I think it's important to experience the movie as it is without knowing anything about it. I wouldn't even watch the trailer. I think it'll be a lot better, especially for our type of communities. So, thanks for watching this movie review. If you liked it, I guess subscribe to the rest of the channel and check out some of my other content, although this is the only movie review. But if this gets traction, or if you guys really enjoy it, leave a like if you do. I will make some more. And if, of course, you want to suggest a movie, leave that down in the comments section. If you just want some, like, wow, what a train wreck, like Moonfall. If you want me to make a serious review of that and everything they did wrong and all the science and the... Oh my gosh. Go for it. I mean, I'll do it just for fun when I got time. It'll get no views, but... Sometimes you just gotta have fun. But if you think that there's a movie that matches or exceeds this, or even is better than The Road... Oh, I doubt that, but I'm willing to take a look, so let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.